Before we get into the official project, I think you guys need some context. So, a couple weeks ago, I decided to go to sleep early, so I went to bed like around 10 p.m. But unfortunately for me, it was one of those nights where no matter what you do, you just can't fall asleep. Like, I tried like 50 different sleeping positions, and I had to flip my pillow to the cool side like 5 times, but nothing was working, and I had no idea what to do. So, I decided to do the only logical thing. So I grabbed my computer and opened my favorite programming IDE, and thanks to my 1 a.m. epiphany, I started researching how a piano works from its frequency to its mathematical calculations, and was able to set up a pretty good simulation of how this project's gonna work. So I present to you Cap Project's Buzzer Piano. Now, I specified it's Cap Projects because this idea isn't 100% unique. You see, if you go to YouTube and you Google Buzzer Piano, you're going to see a lot of different people show a similar idea or a similar concept as mine. But there's a key difference between those and mine, and I'm going to talk about it later on. I just wanted to put that disclaimer also. Also, disclaimer, I know nothing about piano, so all of my pianists out there, like, I'm so sorry if I say something super bad terminology or I completely say something wrong, because this whole working with frequencies and octaves and notes, it was really messing with my head. So I woke up the next morning and this is what I had. A complete, well-organized and thought-out simulation of how this project is actually going to work out. And to be honest, to be something that was made at 1 a.m., I'm actually pretty proud of it, okay? So, as we can see over here, we have the buttons, the resistors, the power supply, as well as the buzzer. This thing right here is where all the magic happens. Basically, that little buzzer, you give it a specific frequency, and it gives you a specific sound. So that's how we're actually going to change the pitch and assign the correct frequencies to each piano key note, basically. And so right here, these first 7 buttons represent the 7 white keys that are in one octave. And then these 2 buttons here is something that is unique to my design. Now, one of the biggest differences, which is the key difference I was talking about between my design and their design, is the ability to change between octaves. That is caused by the fact that I'm actually not assigning any frequencies. So what they do is that for each button, they assign a specific frequency. But no button in my program, in my code, is actually predefined. Every single frequency is calculated real time with a mathematical equation I found. So if we go to the Wikipedia page in the piano frequencies, here we have a chart with the 108 keys with their 108 corresponding frequencies. Now what they would do in the YouTube channel is that they would choose 7 of those keys and assign the 7 corresponding values to those keys. But you're limited to only the values that you have assigned, and you would have a huge array or a huge switch method to compute that. So it would be a lot of hard work. Instead, I went up here and I found this formula right here. So what this formula lets me do is that I give it the specific number key that I want, and it returns the frequency that corresponds with it. So with that tiny equation, I actually have access to every single piano key in a piano. So what I did is that I got that equation, I modified it into a version that actually works for the purpose of this project, and I turned it into code basically and implemented it into my design. So ultimately, this gives me access to way more than any of those projects that you see on YouTube, because again, because they define specifically what each key's value is, they're limited to only 1 octave because they can't have 108 buttons. But since I am using that equation, I'm actually able to change the octave in real time. And what that does is that it gives me access to every single key in the piano, which is what makes my design different from all the other ones, right? There is a couple problems with my design. The first is that the buzzer has some physical limits. Like when you come to the 1st and the 7th octave, which are the extremes, it really has a hard time processing those frequencies. So it isn't the most accurate when you go to the extremes. But apart from that, like when you're in the 3rd octave, 4th, 5th, 6th, 2nd, it has a pretty good job at handling those frequencies. Okay, so this whole project was supposed to take 2 days, maybe 3 days maximum, but me being a complete genius, I decided to start it at the beginning of AP week, which just extended it like a week and a half. But never mind that, I finally finished it. I did all the programming and I wrote like 5 different codes that runs the song by itself without me having to do anything. And in the description is going to be the code for all those songs, as well as for the Tinkercad simulation. If you guys want to check it out and build it yourself, I'd be pretty happy to see what you guys can do with it and to what level you can take this project. So these following clips, the music is all mine, and you're going to be able to see how it works out. But the clips that I'm using aren't mine, so all the credit is going to be down in the description, so make sure to check out and support the original creators. So apart from that, just enjoy.
「その間鍵穴に目を近づけるのはいけないことでしょうか」おおおおナイス